Bash grunted, rousing reluctantly from sleep. He blinked against the blackness of the room, wondering what woke him. Emily lay beside him, and her breathing was slow and even. He could hear the wind softly billowing the juniper boughs she had stapled to the cabin's walls to camouflage their little hideout. Otherwise, everything was still. He closed his eyes and almost succumbed to the siren song of sleep again. He was exhausted. They'd spent the day digging pit traps, and the coming day promised to be another long one, with all the work they planned to do to secure the cabin against the invaders they knew were on their way. But something niggled at the edge of his awareness, refusing to let him drift away. Something had awakened him. What was it? He sat up and glanced at the bedroom door. It was slightly ajar, and he could see a faint patch of silvery shadow where moonlight slipped under the curtains. No strange sounds. Nothing out of the ordinary. He drew in a deep breath, about to lie back, when he caught the faint smell of smoke. He pulled in another deep breath to be sure, but there was no mistaking it. The smell of resin and juniper perfumed the peppery scent of wood smoke. Bash leapt out of bed, suddenly wide awake. They'd put out the campfire before heading inside for the night, thoroughly, with sand and water. He remembered watching the steam rise in a powerful cloud. "Emily!" He shook her shoulders sharply, and then raced into the main room. He could see everything. The couch on the right, where Hazel and Caleb were both asleep, their heads at opposite ends. The kitchen table and chairs on the left. The cupboard doors gleamed white in the half-light. He didn't see flames, but the smell of smoke stung his nostrils. "Hazel, Caleb, wake up!" he shouted. Hazel came awake instantly. Bash wondered if she ever slept soundly, but Caleb slept on. Hazel nudged him with her foot as she sat up. "What's wrong?" "Fire." Without waiting, Bash grabbed the fire extinguisher from the kitchen and ran outside in his bare feet. In the quiet night, it took only a second to locate the fire. Bash ran around to the back of the cabin. It was a wall of fire, hungry red and orange flames consuming the dry branches stapled to the wall in a steady upward march. More flames sprang from the bottom of the generator room and snapped at the cabin logs. Lights inside the cabin flicked on. "Hazel, grab your gun!" Bash yelled. He raced around to the door of the generator room, alert over the snap and crackle of flames to any movement inside. Only then did he hear their hostage begin to yell, the thin plywood door amplifying his shouts. Hank, Hazel's so-called fiancé, nephew of Wellspring's fanatical leader, had been locked in the generator shed since the day before. He must have been roasting for a while. Why was he only just now shouting for help? Maybe Hank had been waiting for the fire to do as much damage as possible before alerting them. Bash cursed under his breath. Wouldn't put it past him. Bash dropped the fire extinguisher and, in a crouch, crept to the generator room door. He unlocked it and swung it wide, keeping low, ready for anything. His caution was rewarded as Hank came out swinging wildly at where Bash's head should have been. His wrists were tied, but he'd laced his fingers together and made a club of his knotted hands. Using the other man's momentum against him, Bash crashed his shoulder into Hank's stomach and rose to his feet, lifting the sweaty and snarling prisoner clear off the ground. With Hank over his shoulder, Bash spun and lumbered to the front of the cabin. Hazel was coming around the corner with the shotgun, so he dropped Hank and grabbed up the fire extinguisher again. Pulling the pin and pointing the nozzle at the base of the fire, he smashed the trigger. A faint stream of white foam, light enough to blow in the breeze, trickled out of the nozzle.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.